Invitatul special al ediției de astăzi al emisiunii Ambasador România este Mark Taplin, un diplomat de carieră al Departamentului de Stat, care astăzi este în afara sistemului de stat, este persoană privată, dar cu 30 de ani de experiență în diplomație, un diplomat excepțional, un om excepțional, un prieten foarte apropiat, la care țin enorm, dar în același timp un prieten și al României. Mark Taplin a fost însărcinatul cu afaceri al Ambasadei Americane la București, a fost adjunctul ambasadorului american la București, a fost însărcinatul cu afaceri al Ambasadei Americane de la Paris și înainte de asta a ocupat diverse poziții în diplomația americană, atât în cadrul Ambasadei Statelor Unite în Rusia, la începutul carierei domniei sale, cât și în cadrul Departamentului de Stat ca director pentru Ucraina și zona sovietică de la acel moment în cadrul Departamentului de Stat. Așadar, avem de-a face cu un invitat cu totul și cu totul special, un om cu un bagaj de experiență în diplomație, dar mai ales în relațiile internaționale foarte vast, dar în același timp un om care are o experiență și o expertiză vastă în ceea ce privește zona în care ne aflăm noi astăzi, România, Ucraina, Moldova, Georgia, Rusia, adică exact persoana cea mai indicată să ne vorbească despre ce se întâmplă acum în regiune, despre relațiile internaționale, despre Rusia, despre Statele Unite, despre viitorul României, despre viitorul regiunii. De aceea sunt foarte bucuros că l-avem invitat. Dincolo de relația personală pe care o am cu domnul Taplin, este și acest avantaj foarte mare că domnia sa are o experiență vastă în domeniul geopoliticii și în domeniul politicii externe în regiunea noastră. Aș mai adăuga un singur lucru, este un prieten al României și urmărește constant, înțeleg, canalele de televiziune românești, pentru că domnia sa a și făcut studii în România, în perioada ceaușistă, în perioada dinainte de 1989, a fost licean în România, a făcut câțiva ani de liceu în România, în perioada în care tatăl domniei sale a fost diplomat la Ambasada Americană de la București. Așadar, avem de-a face cu un om care cunoaște foarte bine România, care o iubește foarte mult și care se întoarce cu plăcere de fiecare dată. Îl prezint și dumneavoastră și, desigur, cu tot subiectivismul de rigoare, datorită prieteniei pe care o port, am să încerc să fiu obiectiv, totuși, și să-i adresez întrebările așa cum am făcut cu fiecare invitat, și cele plăcute și cele mai puțin plăcute, însă dumneavoastră veți aprecia la final dacă răspunsurile sunt cele pe care le așteptați sau nu. Mark, thank you for coming. Mr. Taplin, thank you for coming. I appreciate very much that you accepted my invitation and our organization's invitation. And I'm very proud to have you also because of your experience. I just explained our viewers a little bit of your CV. But as I know, you speak not fluently, maybe Romanian, but you understand and speak quite well Romanian. I want to welcome you to Ambasador Romania, this new talk show, which is already at the 4th edition, and this will be a special edition with you. And I would like you to give your first thoughts to the people, to the viewers, to the citizens of Romania.
Vă mulțumesc mai întâi pentru această invitație, pentru că să fiu cu tine astăzi și la Realitate este de fapt foarte plăcut pentru mine. I also thank you for allowing me to speak in English during the interview.
Please, no problem.
No, it's a real pleasure for me to come back to Romania after 7 years. And as you say, because I have a long-standing relationship, I'm subjective. I must admit, I'm not entirely objective about Romania, having lived here as a child and then coming back and working at the embassy. And as a result, I feel like I've come home again, even after having been away for 7 years. And my interest in Romania dates back to the 1960s when I was a child. So I think I have half a century of interest and affection for Romania, and you're just helping me continue that.
Well, now are coming the questions, because of course having such a guest, it's not only an honor, but it's also an opportunity to find things and to explain to the citizens. First of all, let me ask you a few things about your childhood. How was to be a high school student in Romania when Ceausescu was the leader, and to be the son of a diplomat, of an American diplomat in Bucharest?
Well, I never minded the fact that my father was an American diplomat. I think I was aware of the fact that, yes, there were problems sometimes in getting to know Romanians, but at my level of inquiry about Romania, I was 7 years old, 8 years old, and so I got to know Romanian kids, and I learned how to play football, the real football, soccer, while I was here in Romania.
That's the real one, not the American one.
Yeah, exactly. So my memories of Romania as a child are very positive. Obviously, we lived under very special circumstances, and our family didn't have to face the kinds of difficulties in living from one day to another as a family that was part of the American legation, because when we first came in 1963, we didn't even have an embassy. The relationship had not been upgraded yet to that point.
How are you having fun at that time in that Romania?
Well, I was going to the American school at its very beginning. It only had about 12 or 14 students. And for your viewers, if they've been by the American International School of Bucharest in Pipera, they've probably noticed it's more like 1,000 students now. Frankly, I had a great time, and learning how to ski, learning how to play soccer. For me, I could walk all over the city on my own. I still remember some of the places I used to go and buy candies. So my memories of Romania, listening to Romanian music, I remember very vividly, of learning Romanian, how to speak Romanian.
Were you allowed to interfere with the Romanians?
Well, I think that most Romanians, wisely, were cautious about their relationships. But I think as a child, it didn't matter as much. And so in some ways, I could help my parents open up conversations with Romanians, sometimes with diplomats from countries, other countries in Eastern Europe. Having a child and a dog were all very useful in terms of opening up doors and having conversations.
Well, these are questions which were at least I was curious about, because imagining the Ceausescu time and you being the son of an American diplomat here, the memories are maybe different of being an adult. So the last question of this was for me as a curiosity was to know how Securitatea was dealing with this. I mean, did you felt watched in those times, where they were more like soft doing it?
Well, I know that I was aware when I was a child that you didn't want to talk about just any subject in the house. And I knew my parents were careful about the conversations they were having in the house, because we assumed, and it turned out we were right, that the house that we lived on in the Dorabans area, which is still there, by the way, beautiful house that's been renovated, that there were listening devices in the house. And in fact, there was a small apartment that was occupied by a colonel in Securitate and his wife. But I've had more insights recently, because I was lucky enough to get part of my father's Securitate file.
Really?
So I've had the opportunity to look through the file and see how he was viewed by at least one part of the Romanian government during that period. And, you know, obviously there are some fascinating aspects of that, to go back and look at the file that covers that period of time that we were here in Romania.
Well, thank you for this introduction. It is important our citizens to know a lot about you, and to know that you are not just now here as a diplomat, as a former diplomat present, but also your past and your love to Romania is coming from those times. When you're a child, you are getting attached to things, to what happens in your childhood, so you are still attached to Romania.
Romania was always very important in my family. It was a very important experience for my parents, for my sister, who was here part of the time, for me.
Okay. Now, if you would agree, we'll go to more serious stuff.
Of course.
And I would make a call to your experience with regard to the space, let's say the East space. And my question, very direct questions will be from now on, are first, how do you see Mr. Putin's reactions right now? Because, well, actions, not reactions, actions right now, because I saw the declarations are from 1 hour to another. The last declaration of the Russian ambassador to Copenhagen was that if Denmark will hold Scut, like Romania,
right.
then they are a target of missiles from Russia. This can be a diplomatic statement, but we had diplomatic statements of Putin which were ignored, and we realized that he was actually speaking seriously. How do you see this declaration?
Well, first of all, I think it was highly unusual in one sense to have a remark like that made by an ambassador. Just think about it. The Russian ambassador, like any ambassador in a bilateral relationship, is normally there to promote more positive relations, to encourage cooperation. And so it was quite unusual. And I think the way the Danish government reacted, and other governments in solidarity with the Danish government, is exactly right. It's an unacceptable kind of commentary to make, and it's professionally also very dubious. I think it's a reflection, unfortunately, of not an assertion of strength, but it's a reflection of a sense of insecurity underneath. I don't believe that the view in Moscow is what was reflected in the ambassador's statement. I don't think that the strategic analytical appreciation of this particular initiative is actually what was declared publicly. Well, and that's one of the problems with Moscow, is that the public declarations are oftentimes constructed for a particular purpose and may not reflect the actual evaluation inside the Kremlin.
Well, Mr. Putin also talked about where he was also threatening countries with nuclear weapons. That you and me know each other, that the ambassadors don't give such messages without checking with their capitals. So in this case, maybe it was his view, but I believe that he checked at least with the foreign ministry.
Well, normally one expects the ambassador to be following instructions. We have to assume in this case that he probably did, because otherwise there would have been some reaction from Moscow. No, I think it reflects the aggressive rhetoric that we've seen, that is paired to an aggressive pattern of action that's played out in this crisis in Ukraine. And we should be concerned.
Yes. If I look to the region, and my question is, of course, regarding our region especially, I see Mr. Putin's strategy to surround Romania with enemies. Of course, it's very bluntly putting it, but if we look to the countries surrounding Romania, and we can look to Moldova, Hungary, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Serbia, each of them have something to be very much in relationship with Moscow. Serbia was just signed an agreement with Putin. Mr. Orban, it's famous for his not loyalty, but at least business with Russia, and also political ties. We have Moldova with the government which is not pro-European and not pro-NATO. It's obvious if it's a communist leader, the prime minister now. And we have also Bulgaria, which is not, let's say, the most pro-Western country in the European Union, and it remains the Black Sea to be our safest neighbor, even though we had submarines from Russia also in the Black Sea. Do you see? I mean, is my analysis correct? Or, I mean, how do you see this? It's a coincidence from Putin?
Yeah, I guess my analysis would be a bit different.
Okay.
In that despite the complications that you see in some of the policy approaches with your neighbors, I think that the last 12 months of common diplomatic effort involving the United States, the European Union, working together, has actually been quite successful. And I don't want, as the expression goes, to tempt the fates by expressing too much confidence about the future. But I think we have managed to maintain a joint approach, and we saw that most recently in the decisions in Brussels at the end of last week, where the European Union's commitment to maintain that sanctions regime stayed firm.
Well, 7 countries of the European Union already opposed to agree with that.
Well, finding unanimity, I don't have to tell you, or any Romanian, finding unanimity within any structure with 28 members is difficult enough. And obviously, some of your neighbors don't have the same kind of strong footing that Romania has, doesn't have the importance necessarily that Romania has in the region. So, of course, if some member countries are more dependent economically, especially in terms of energy, on Russia, and are more susceptible to the kinds of pressures that unfortunately the Kremlin has been exerting for some time, even before the Ukraine crisis, on countries in that position. Romania has guarded its independence of action to a greater extent. You have more energy independence to draw from. You're less dependent. You're one of the 2 key countries, along with Poland, on this side of Europe. The fact of the matter is, and I think this also is attributable to some good leadership on the part of the German Chancellor and other European leaders, the European Union stood by the sanctions, which was important, and that's what we need to continue doing. The United States, European Union need to continue to have this synchronized diplomacy. It takes effort. It takes some sacrifice, maybe on both sides of the Atlantic, but I don't know that Mr. Putin and that small circle of advisors, because it is a small circle of advisors who are making the decisions for Russian policy now, I don't know that they were expecting us to be as successful as we have been in maintaining Allied solidarity. They certainly have been trying hard to break that up, and we have to resist that.
We'll take a short break for commercials, but I will tell you from now, and I will argument after that I disagree a little bit with your point of view.
Good.
Publicitate.